He only wanted to see his daughter smile once. That's why he hired a woman to pretend to be her mother for a single afternoon, a lie told out of love. But what none of them expected was for that pretend woman to become something real, something they had all been missing. Asterisk, before we continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Story Sphere for more heart-touching stories that remind us of the beauty of second chances. Daniel Brooks never wanted to lie to his daughter. He was a man who believed in honesty, in simplicity, and in doing right by the people you love. But after his wife passed away 3 years ago, life didn't leave much room for anything except survival. Raising a little girl alone while working 2 jobs had broken him in more ways than he liked to admit. He barely slept. He rarely smiled. But worst of all, he could see how the light in his daughter's eyes had slowly begun to dim. Asterisk Sophie was just 6 when her mother died. And even though she was now 9, she still asked about her every day. She clung to every memory, every photo, every bedtime story about Mommy's favorite song, or how Mommy used to bake cookies. Daniel tried his best, but there were things he just couldn't give the comfort of a mother's arms. The gentle voice singing lullabies, the way her mother used to braid her hair. No matter how hard he tried, there was always a piece missing. Asterisk then came the week before her birthday. Sophie looked up at Daniel one night as he tucked her in and said with a hopeful whisper, "Do you think Mommy will come to my birthday this year? Maybe she'll surprise me." Asterisk Daniel's heart sank like an anchor in his chest. He smiled weakly, kissed her forehead, and turned off the light, but inside, he shattered. That night, he sat in the living room staring at an old photo of his wife, wondering how he had failed so badly that his daughter still believed in miracles he couldn't give her. Asterisk, it was then that a desperate thought crept into his mind. Reckless, ridiculous, but maybe, just maybe, it would bring Sophie the smile she deserved. He opened his laptop and typed an ad into a local caregiver group. Asterisk, looking for a kind woman to attend a child's birthday party and pretend to be her mother. 1 day only. Paid. Must. Be warm, patient, and trustworthy. The next morning, his inbox had one reply. Her name was Claire Evans. She was in her early 30s. A former theater student turned freelance tutor. She wrote that she wasn't sure what to make of the ad, but something about it pulled at her heart. "I don't know why, but I'd like to help," she wrote. "Not for the money. I just feel like maybe I'm meant to." Asterisk Daniel was skeptical. This was a strange request, after all. But when they met at a quiet cafe the next day, his doubts softened. Claire had a gentle voice, kind eyes, and a way of listening that made you feel heard. When Daniel explained everything, including the lie and how much Sophie missed her mother, she didn't flinch. She just nodded thoughtfully and said, "Let's make this birthday the most beautiful memory she's ever had." And so the plan began. Claire would arrive just before the party. She'd wear a soft floral dress like Amanda used to. She would stay for a few hours, just long enough to sing happy birthday, help with cake, and dance with Sophie like a dream come true. Then she would quietly slip away. No goodbyes, no explanations. Asterisk, the day of the party, Daniel was more nervous than he had ever been in his life. He set up balloons, streamers, and a folding table filled with cupcakes and lemonade in there. Small backyard. Sophie wore her best dress and stood by the window every few minutes, watching, waiting, and then Claire arrived. Sophie saw her through the window, and for a moment the world stopped. She gasped. Little hands flew too. Her mouth, "Mommy," she whispered. Daniel held his breath. Claire stepped out of the car with a soft smile and a gift bag. Her hair was pulled back the same way Amanda used to do it. She walked up to Sophie, knelt down, and hugged her gently. Asterisk, "Happy birthday, sweetheart," she whispered. Sophie melted into her arms and began to cry. So did Daniel. Asterisk, that afternoon was like a fairy tale. Claire played with the children, helped Sophie open her gifts, took silly photos, and danced barefoot on the grass. She even sang Amanda's favorite lullaby during cake cutting. Daniel had mentioned it during their planning. But hearing it come from Claire's voice sent a shiver through his spine. It was like watching Amanda's spirit come alive again. Asterisk but. Here's the thing no one expected. Claire wasn't acting asterisk. Yes, she had come as a favor. Yes, she knew it was pretend. But with every passing hour she found herself falling into the rhythm of the life she never had. Holding Sophie's hand, laughing with Daniel over burnt cupcakes, watching a little girl beam with joy and thinking, "This feels like home," asterisk, after the party. Sophie begged her to stay for movie night. Asterisk Claire looked at Daniel, unsure. Asterisk, but Daniel, seeing the stars in his daughter's eyes. What? Asterisk. That night, the three of them sat together under a blanket watching cartoons and eating popcorn. Sophie fell asleep in Claire's lap, and something strange happened. Daniel didn't want her to leave, but the next morning, she did. Quietly, just like planned. Asterisk Sophie was confused, heartbroken. "Where did Mommy go?" she cried. Daniel couldn't lie anymore. He sat her down and told her the truth, gently, carefully. Asterisk, she wasn't Mommy, baby. She was someone who wanted you to feel loved, 'cause you deserve that. Always, asterisk Sophie cried. But then, she said something Daniel would never forget. Asterisk, she felt like Mommy, and I still love her. Asterisk Daniel reached out to Claire that evening, thanking her, but also asking she might want to see them again, not for pretending, just as herself. Asterisk Claire hesitated. Her life had been quiet, simple. She had no children, no family close by. But something about the Brooks family had stirred a longing in her heart that she hadn't felt in years. Asterisk. She said yes. Asterisk days turned into weeks. Visits turned into dinners. Dinners turned into laughter. And laughter slowly grew into something stronger. Sophie adored her. Daniel trusted her. Claire started to feel like she belonged. They weren't pretending anymore. But life doesn't move without challenges, asterisk one evening. Claire got a job offer from a prestigious art school out of state. It was her dream, a chance to teach full-time, to write, to grow. But it meant leaving. Daniel, being Daniel, encouraged her. You should go. This was never supposed to be permanent. Claire looked at Sophie, then at him. I came here to pretend to be someone's mother. And I ended up becoming part of a family. How can I leave that behind? Asterisk in the end, she turned down the job, not out of sacrifice but out of love. She chose a life not of perfect career paths, but of warmth, connection, and meaning. Asterisk 6 months later, Claire and Daniel stood in the same backyard, now decorated not with balloons, but with fairy lights and white roses. Asterisk, they said, I do. With Sophie standing proudly between them, ending powerful emotional message, plus call to action. Asterisk, what began as a lie became a new beginning. Because sometimes the people we need most arrive when we least expect them, not to play a role, but to remind us what love really means. Asterisk, if this story moved you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to StorySphere for more. Emotional journeys that prove love, hope, and family can be found in the most unexpected ways. Asterisk.